by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Fidelity Bank, for all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Canaan Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Monday, the 21st day of October 2019. I trust that everyone had an enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we again urge you to please be extremely cautious. Please ensure that you observe the rules of the road and always remember that the life that you save may be your own. Those of you who were on the roads of the Cayman Islands yesterday, we hope and trust that you didn't get caught up in the Sunday brunch crackdown, where we have noticed Royal Cayman Islands Police Service officers on the roads, some roads in the Cayman Islands, checking drivers, especially those returning from brunch. And those of you who may feel, well, this may affect your business by police doing that, you also want to think of the fact that they are ensuring that the roads of the Cayman Islands are safe as well. And one of the things that those business owners can do who may be concerned about the effect that it may have on their businesses is to ensure that you monitor the alcoholic consumption of your customers. And if you see a customer is in a condition where they should not be driving, you should try your best to prevent them from driving or cut off the flow of liquor when it reaches a certain point as well. Talking about driving on the roads of the Cayman Islands, I know years ago it was fashionable for people to drive with their arms out of the window of their vehicles, either hanging down or have it draped over the top of the window and holding on to part of the roof of the car. What is fashionable and what is safe? Two completely different things. And I constantly see people driving with their arms outside of the vehicle. If you have any regard whatsoever for your arm or your hand, keep it inside the vehicle, because if another car were to come close enough to you, you could end up losing an arm in an accident, or if you're in an accident, you may not have sufficient time to respond to pull your arm inside of the car. It is no longer fashionable. It is not safe for you to do that. So one of my pet peeves when I see people driving with their arms hanging out of the window, that is utter stupidity. Do not do it. It is not good for your health. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. This morning, again, it is that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, you can email us at fortherecord, that is one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where we encourage you to send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, or if you celebrated one over the weekend, we want to wish you a belated happy birthday as well. And of course, for those of you who have lost loved ones over the past few days or past few weeks, we again extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. We have no guest in the studio yet this morning. After the 8 o'clock news, we will have guests in the studio. I believe this morning we will be talking about Saturday Night Live. And we're not talking, it won't be about Saturday Night Live that those of you who watch TV know about on NBC on Saturday nights. It will be Saturday Night Live here in the Cayman Islands on the waterfront. So we will be having that discussion at 8:15. Meanwhile, we will have the phone lines open for you to call in and to discuss anything that you want to talk about, as long as it is legal and as long as it is a subject that can be discussed publicly on the radio. So many things going on today. Canada, they're having their federal elections today, national elections in Canada today. We will see what happens with Justin Trudeau's Liberal government. We see where some of his promises that he made during his campaign in the first election, he has been able to keep some of those promises. Some he has been unable to keep, including balancing the budget. But we wait and see what happens there. Over in the United Kingdom, we saw on Saturday where Boris Johnson's attempt to get a vote on his new deal that he has struck with the European Union, that was stymied as a result of a successful amendment to that piece of legislation. And as a result of that amendment, he was then required to write to the European Union to seek an extension of time. It seems as if if there's an up and down vote, which means that the majority of votes will carry. You don't need a 2/3 or anything. Up and down means that if you gain one more vote over the others, then the vote carries. So in an up and down vote, it appears as if he has the numbers, including some out of the 21 Conservative members that he deselected as a result of their opposition to some of his policies and his moves. He's gotten some support from some of them, not all of them, and it would appear as if some promises have been made in regard to maybe restoring them in the party. Some will have indicated that they will no longer run. They will not run in the next election. So in the UK, I think it's at 3:30 their time today, we should know what will happen as far as him seeking another vote. Now, those of you who have been following this fiasco, because it is extremely important to us here in the Cayman Islands to a certain extent, more important, the whole Brexit issue, more important to other territories, for instance, Gibraltar, very, very important to them. But if you are interested in following it, we will see what the Speaker, John Burkhoff, will do in terms of allowing a second vote to take place. We know what happened previously, that he did not allow the government to bring a second vote forward on a similar issue a few weeks ago. This one, the government is arguing that the vote never came up because of the amendment. So members of parliament were not able to vote on the substantive bill because of the amendment that was brought forward, and the vote was on the amendment rather than on the substantive one. So we'll see what John Burkhoff will do with that. We know that come the end of this month that he will no longer be the Speaker, and I believe it's on the 4th of November. There should be votes in the House of Parliament for a new Speaker, and there are people who are jockeying for position in relation to that, and some are being extremely critical of John Burkhoff, the current Speaker, for his move. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that regard. We have a caller. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we will take that caller, and I will also share with you some other issues in relation to the overseas territories and the United Kingdom in relation to British passports as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
World War II left little of the world untouched by the chaos, and the Cayman Islands were no different. It is estimated that 1,000 Caymanian men, or 2/3 of the adult male population, was in active service during World War II. Although there were significant effects at home by the absence of this high number of men, those serving abroad were able to acquire new skills and to send home money to their families. Although the Cayman Islands were never a direct target of the enemy, the Americans did set up a small base in Georgetown between 1942 until 1945. In May 1942, the German U-boat campaign brushed our shores when it torpedoed the United Fruit Company's steamer, the Cayamagua. Captain Eugene Thompson of the Simboco was ordered by Commissioner Jones to rescue the survivors.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
540 months.
16,425 days.
394,200 hours.
45 years.
That's how long we've been committed to serving you, and we won't stop there. Over the years, we have proudly grown with Cayman, making a difference in the community. That's why we're here to stand by you.
We are Cayman National.
And we thank you for standing by us for 45 years and counting.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
In 1996, Rotary Club Central led the way initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to VAT Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to VAT Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with VAT cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit VAT Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
Women in White, a culinary journey hosted by locally acclaimed chefs to raise funds towards a culinary scholarship for women.
Join Chefs Jessica,
Chef Tamisha,
and Chef Brittany in a beautiful villa sponsored by Luxury Cayman Villas, serving you 6 delicious courses, all infused with local ingredients on 3 live chef stations.
Women in White.
Your ticket includes the open bar and live music. Join the Women in White on October 26th from 7 to 11 p.m., all for a worthy cause.
Women in White.
Tickets can be found at eventpro.ky. For more information, visit www.womeninwhitefoundation.com.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for waiting.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. This is Paul Hurston from South Sound.
Good morning, Captain Paul. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm a little hoarse still, but I'm coming on.
Good.
I want to report on something I seen yesterday morning. You know, every Sunday morning, I meet you on the road sometime. I take my little walk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And right on the corner, Walker's Road and South Sound Road, that's a kind of a dangerous place. There many accidents there. And by the light pole there, the guinea grass is after this little rain has grown up there. And I observed a Filipino lady yesterday morning cutting that grass. I had to go speak to her. Because the traffic department, the NRA, that's a dangerous place. And that little woman seen the needs of that, and she went and borrowed a machete from somebody and came and cut that grass.
Wow. And the way it is, it's obstructing a person's vision.
Right, that's why she done it. Coming off Walker's Road, turning right.
Right.
Going to Georgetown or coming up from Georgetown on the Walker's Road. It was obscure. You couldn't see it. I wouldn't say you couldn't see it, but it was dangerous.
Yeah.
So she took it on herself to do it. So I think she should be commended. I don't know her name. I didn't ask her name, but I think she should be commended on something like that.
Certainly, and Captain Paul, I don't know if you would agree with me, but that junction there, I believe, could do with some re-engineering as well, because when you approach that junction coming from on Walker's Road, and if you want to turn left then to go east, it is very difficult. You're almost looking behind you to see the traffic, because the junction is really not perpendicular with the two roads are not perpendicular. There's enough space there that it really could be re-engineered to make it much safer as well. Would you agree to that on that?
Definitely, because there's many accidents. Just about every month or so is an accident out there. And I used to trim out the coconut tree, the leaves of the coconut trees years ago when I could, but I'm not in any position to do that now. So this has been neglected for a long time. I don't know how the powers that be who traverses it every day can't see the need for some improvement there.
I don't know what the NRA's policy is, in terms of how they go about determining what where some of the obstacles are and what they are, whether or not they rely on people to call in, or whether they have someone who is not necessarily dedicated, but at certain times will just simply drive on the roads and see what the hazards are, take note of them, so that the NRA then knows what to do, or if they do collaborate with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service in terms of those areas where accidents occur frequently, and to see what the problems are. Again, we're a small jurisdiction, small community. I believe simple actions like that could go a long way in terms of solving some of the quote-unquote problems that we have on the roads.
Definitely so, because also I'll bring up this situation too, because it's some places on Walker's need some drainage. You don't wait when there's a sunny day. You wouldn't mark it. Somebody should be going around after the rain and see where the water settles, so they can put the drains there.
Yep. One of those places is right. If you're going east again, just after you pass the church, it has a tendency to flood in that area up there when it rains.
Right there and by my Taggart Station.
Yep.
It's strange. It's solutions to that, but I don't know. Prevention is better than cure. I'll leave it at that. So you all have a nice day, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very much, Captain Paul, and I hope and I trust that someone from the NRA, that they're listening and they're taking note, and they will go and look at these issues as well. Talking about Brexit. And I failed to point out also with Brexit that the European Union, they have indicated their willingness for an extension that has been requested, and they will make a decision sometime today whether or not their decision will come before a decision is made as to whether or not there will be a second vote in the House of Parliament today. Again, we see a situation where Boris Johnson, based on the amendment, was required to send a letter to the European Union, which he did, but that letter he did not sign. He sent another letter from him personally stating as to why he did not feel that an extension was necessary, and he signed that one. Now, some would see that as political shenanigans again, but I believe that he is really maneuvering, and while being required to send a letter, which he has done. there was nothing that prevented him from sending another letter in his personal capacity as well, which he has done. Have about 3 minutes. Just want to say that we've talked about passports, especially Cayman Islands passports, and our inability to produce them here any longer, as well as in the other overseas territories. We know that the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands had expended significant amount of money on systems that were put in place for the production of passports, and then the production of passports were all repatriated to the United Kingdom. Based on that repatriation, the Bermudan passport that basically had the code BMU in it was changed, and as you know now, all of the British Overseas Territories passports now have GBD as opposed to what Bermuda had on theirs, which was BMU. Now, that has created a problem for Bermudans traveling to the United States, especially if they're traveling from outside of Bermuda. Traveling from inside of Bermuda is not a problem because going to the United States, because there's a pre-clearance system in Bermuda for the United States, which means that border control, customs, and immigration are U.S. Customs and Immigration are located at the Bermuda airport. And so when you're leaving Bermuda, you're automatically cleared into the U.S. So there's no problem with Bermudans with a passport that says GBD in it when they're leaving out of Bermuda, because they're not required to have a visa. They just simply have a waiver, but their waiver is not in the form as the waiver that we have as well. They just simply have a system there where they can go in, they can check to see whether or not the Bermudan has a criminal conviction that would prevent them from entering into the U.S. And if that is the case, then they're not allowed to go. But traveling from outside of Bermuda into the U.S. creates a problem, for them. To get that resolved, one of the undersecretaries in the Home Office has promised that they will look into it to see what can be done in that regard, whether or not it will help Bermudans. But they have been pushing for that, and as you know, one of the huge proponents of that was a man who passed away in Bermuda last week, Walton Brown. He was one who was pushing for the issuance of passports back to be brought back to Bermuda and other overseas territories as well. Folks, we've reached the top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now is 8 o'clock. And this time check brought to you by Price Right.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Sagicor. Let us put a smile on your face. Call 949-8211.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Shanda Gallego with your latest news. after a hoax circulated on WhatsApp concerning individuals committing robberies using fraudulent ID. The Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Finance and Economics, and the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service have jointly released a statement saying local police have received no reports of such robberies and are asking the public to remain calm and refrain from further circulating the fraudulent warning. In the statement released Saturday, officials further noted that a virtually identical scam has been circulating internationally via mobile and social media for years, surfacing most recently in September of this year. Members of the public are reminded that the RCIPS will promptly notify the public whenever recent crimes create the potential for concern or impact. The robberies are alleged to have been committed by persons carrying a letter from the non-existent Department of Home Affairs relating to the upcoming census. Now, officials noted the Economics and Statistics Office, ESO, is currently conducting a pilot census in tandem with the Fall Labor Force Survey. Field surveyors employed on this project carry multiple forms of identification from ESO and have no need to see the personal identification of persons whom they are interviewing. Officials say anyone with concerns about the identity of someone who has approached their door should request identification and, if needed, contact their local police station. As always, persons should contact 911 if they feel they are in immediate danger. The Department of Education Services, DES, has officially opened a nursery located on the grounds of the Creek and Spot Bay Infant School. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
The nursery is part of a Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports, Agriculture, and Lands funded pilot project that allows children who've turned 3 as of September 1st to attend nursery school. Education and Youth Minister, the Honourable Juliana O'Connor Conley, officially opened the extension to the Creek and Spot Bay Infant School, which will cater to 3- and 4-year-olds. The minister says the nursery will allow the students the opportunity to engage in an academic, play-based curriculum that will better prepare them to transition into the newly adapted English curriculum. That curriculum will include literacy, math, understanding the world, expressive arts and design, and a focus on each student's personal, social, and emotional development, as well as communication, language skills, and physical development. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
For more information on this program, you can contact Adrian Jones, Acting Senior School Improvement Officer for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, on 948-0356 or by email at adrian.jones@gov.ky. In other local news, Leadership Cayman class of 2020 met as a group for the first time recently. We get more on this now from CIGTV's Donna Bush.
The orientation was planned to give class members an insight into what the Leadership Cayman year holds for them. Participants, including some civil servants, were given the opportunity to network with their new classmates and learn more about each other's aspirations. Chamber CEO Will Pinot said Leadership Cayman will be able to contribute to the shaping of 24 business and professional leaders who will be better equipped to advance the Caymanian society and the world at large. The Chamber of Commerce has great expectations for the Leadership Cayman class of 2020 and are looking forward to watching these individuals grow into exceptional leaders.
That's CIGTV's Donna Bush reporting. That is your latest local news. We now turn to the BBC with the check of international news. That's it for me. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm Shanda Gallego.
BBC News with David Austin. The Lebanese government is set to approve a package of reforms aimed at trying to calm a wave of mass demonstrations across the country. A 5th day of protests is underway. The reforms would address some economic grievances, but the protesters are demanding an end to the sectarianism that's dominated Lebanon's political system for 30 years. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson will try to put his Brexit deal with the EU to a vote in Parliament again today, after being forced to send a letter to Brussels seeking another Brexit delay. It's not clear whether the Speaker of Parliament will allow the vote. Canadians are voting in a parliamentary election with the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, facing a threat to his premiership. The election is one of the closest ever, with polls suggesting that neither Mr. Trudeau's Liberal Party nor the rival Conservatives will win a clear majority. President Vladimir Putin has accused the West of pressuring, intimidating and blackmailing African countries. His remarks come ahead of a Russia-Africa summit on Wednesday. Those are the latest stories from BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by Sagicor. Let us put a smile on your face. Call 949-8211.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk Today, the most listened to call-in program in Cayman, airs Monday through Friday, 12:15 till 2:30 p.m. Listeners are encouraged to call in and share their constructive thoughts and ideas on current issues concerning the Cayman Islands and beyond.
Talk Today is proudly brought to you by Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy located in Countryside Shopping Village. Savannah Pharmacy, just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Saturday, November 2nd, Breeze Fusion 2019.
Are you ready? Yeah. The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run. Bigger and better.
Now featuring a 5K walk run
and a 10K run for half marathon trainers.
Join the fun and help raise funds for the Central Scranton Park and the NCVO.
Yes, Cayman Islands, it's back. Your chance to be healthy. Your chance to give back.
Save the date or register now at CaymanActive.com or at Radio Cayman Studio.
The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Saturday, November 2nd.
I like to move it. You like to move it. The Breeze Fusion 5K, 10K walk run.
Taking place at Smith Bacadere, starting at 6:15 a.m.
This is our new chicken cheese pop. Popcorn chicken meets fried cheese bites, breaded with the 11 herbs and spices of our secret recipe. The collision of flavors that triggers your true cravings. Escape through indulgence with a new chicken cheese pop from KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Available for a limited time at KFC Shedden Road and KFC Baytown Plaza. Dine in or drive through.
CUC advises customers on Pedro Castle Road in Savannah that they will experience interruptions to their electrical service on Thursday, October 24th between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Areas affected include all customers on Pedro Castle Road from the junction Sandy Ground Drive, including West Lane, Adams Lane, Charity Lane, Pedro Villas Lane, and all side roads. The Cayman Islands Baptist Church, Pedro St. James, and some customers on Sandy Ground Drive will be affected by this outage. Motorists are asked to drive with caution when using Pedro Castle Road, as CUC will have a number of vehicles and personnel in the area and will be deploying rumble strips and signage to manage the traffic flow. CUC apologizes for this interruption, which is necessary to facilitate required overhead infrastructure upgrades to provide our customers with safe, reliable, and efficient power. For more information on the outage and streets affected, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Thinking of decorating your home or your apartment? Then Super Stitch is the place for all your household needs. We have sheets, comforters, bathroom accessories, curtains, and a whole lot more. We are the original curtain store with curtains for every room in the house. Some special lawn curtains for $10 a panel. Yes, just $10 a panel. Come see us today at Super Stitch. Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 81 degrees. Relative humidity is 87%. Barometric pressure is 29.95 inches and rising. The wind is east-southeast at 3 knots. Overnight low temperature was 79 degrees. Synopsis indicate light winds and smooth to slight seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours. due to a weak pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Further east, a tropical wave over Jamaica will move into the Cayman area this evening, supporting a few showers and possible thunder. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area, moving towards the northwest. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers and possible thunder, and temperatures will be in the low 90s today. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. And the forecast for tonight calling for partly cloudy skies, becoming cloudy at times, with a 30% chance of showers and some thunder, and showers will be locally heavy at times. Temperatures falling to the upper 70s. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will occur this morning at 9:35, high tide this afternoon at 4:48, and a low tide again tonight at 11:15. Sunset 5:57, sunrise 6:22, and the outlook is calling for a decrease in cloudiness and showers from Tuesday afternoon as the wave moves west over the western Caribbean.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Thinking of decorating your home or your apartment? Then Superstitch is the place for all your household needs. We have sheets, comforters, bathroom accessories, curtains, and a whole lot more. We are the original curtain store with curtains for every room in the house. Some special known curtains for $10 a panel. Yes, just $10 a panel. Come see us today at Superstitch. Superstitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadena Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Rising Stars Dance Ministry is proud to present the annual Dance for Christ, Saturday, November 16th at the Church of God Chapel Family Life Center, featuring visiting U.S. artist Malia Bailey, UCCI Dance Group, Dream Chasers, JJZ Dance Ministry, Dance Unlimited, J Prophet, Famous Cousins, Cernan Biblical, Victory Tabernacle Dance Group, Christ Cathedral Youth Choir. MC for this event will be Cheryl T. and many more local talents. Tickets are only $10 pre-sold, $15 at the gate, and children under 12 are only $5. Tickets are on sale now at Funky Times and Christ Cathedral. Dance for Christ is proudly sponsored by Burger King, Domino's, Wendy's, Link International, Funky Times, and Radio Cayman. This November 16th. Don't miss out on Dance for Christ. Brought to you by the Rising Stars Dance Ministry.
Support our port, support our tourism.
The cruise berthing facility will not have any upland development, which means cruise lines will not own or operate any retail or commercial space within the cruise terminal. This is a win for Cape Ann.
Looking forward, looking bright. Support our port, support our tourism.
Get your daily dose of sports updates every Monday through Friday with Radio Cayman's local morning sports report during the 7 a.m. news. Proudly sponsored by High Fashion and Design Studio. Truly your one-stop fashion studio. Located in Cayman Trade Center, 199 Eastern Avenue. Call 945-4415. The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at traffic. Traffic steady on Koo Road and steady traffic coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way. And traffic flowing steadily on the Linford Pearson Highway. Little moderate flow of traffic heading towards the West Bay 4-way stop. and light traffic coming from the West Bay four-way stop. As we look to Eastern Avenue and Godfrey Nixon Way, traffic is flowing nicely, as well as on Shedden Road. Edward Street, light to moderate traffic flow, and traffic light on Owen Roberts Drive. And on North Sound Road, traffic is also moderate. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll update you with another traffic report. Remember, click it or ticket. Have a good morning.
Do you ever have those days when you have to get a super early start, or you're out late at night and want something fresh and healthy to eat? Subway has now opened their third 24-hour location for you early birds and night owls. Subway Countryside in Savannah is now open 24 hours. So now you can grab any of Subway's fresh menu items any time of the day at 3 convenient locations: Countryside in Savannah, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers West Bay. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Women in White, a culinary journey hosted by locally acclaimed chefs to raise funds towards a culinary scholarship for women.
Join Chefs Jessica,
Chef Tamisha,
and Chef Brittany in a beautiful villa sponsored by Luxury Cayman Villas, serving you 6 delicious courses, all infused with local ingredients on 3 live chef stations.
Women in White.
Your ticket includes the open bar and live music. Join the Women in White on October 26th from 7 to 11 p.m., all for a worthy cause. Women in White. Tickets can be found at eventpro.ky. For more information, visit www.womeninwhitefoundation.com.
Each weekday, Monday through Friday, Miracle Brokers is the proud sponsor of Radio Cayman's Bulletin Board. For all your moving needs, call the professionals at Miracle Brokers, 949-5989 or 916-0355. For a free estimate, they take the hassle out of moving. Miracle Brokers.
Now located at 140 Kingbird Drive in the North Sound.
Always separate debris from household garbage after a hurricane hits. Debris includes roofing materials, downed tree branches, and metals. All items of debris must be placed in separate piles to the front of the property or at a side that is easily accessible to collection trucks. Debris must be placed in a location that will not cause obstruction to roadways or come in contact with electrical lines. For more post-hurricane waste management tips, visit the DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I now have the pleasure of having in the studio with me this morning to discuss Saturday Night Live in the Cayman Islands, not the Saturday Night Live that you watch on Saturday night on NBC, but something much better than that. It's really, really, really live. And in the studio with me, we have Mr. Cullen Lumsden, who is the Georgetown Manager and Revitalization Initiative Coordinator. And no stranger to this studio, at least in the past few weeks as well, none other than Miss Melanie McFeel, who is the Executive Director of the Pirates Week office.
Good morning.
Good morning, folks. Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to For the Record. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. And Saturday Night Live, something that I talked about quite a bit when I was in Bermuda in the 1990s, mid-1990s, 95, 96. And they have, during the summer period, they have closed off all the streets, and very attractive for businesses, very attractive for the residents of Bermuda as well, and I was thrilled when I saw it taking place in the Cayman Islands. So kudos to everyone for doing that. But tell our listening and viewing audience about this whole initiative. And
it's so funny. It's so funny you mentioned that, because I think one of the inspiration for me personally was a few years ago. We were in Barbados doing some work, and I went downtown Barbados, and they had a festivity called Q in the Community. And the thing that struck me was it was so unpretentious, and it lasted for hours. And another thing that struck me was the diversity in age. Every age group was there, doing different things, and I was saying to myself, wow, I don't really see that in Cayman that much. There's a lot of festivities that are planned for certain particular age group and certain demographics, I would say, and I think with Saturday Night Live we tried to do something that was, it's 5 to 7 hours long, so it's almost no excuse not to come.
Yes.
It's not dominated by any particular activity per se. It's not music driven. It's not food driven. It's just driven by that communal kind of like gathering and sense of discussion and talking and catching up. That's something that was, I think, was more evident years ago or in the past. So that was so it's funny that you mentioned that you were somewhere else and you saw something. The same thing kind of happened to me, and it stuck with me. And we kind of partnered with Pirates Week office and Mel, and we talked about a lot of the concepts, and we just pooled some of our resources and thinking, and we had the first inaugural Saturday Night Live on August the 3rd this year, and that was a pleasant surprise, I should say, not pleasure surprise. And we were very pleased with that. The music was beautiful, the atmosphere was just awesome, and it was a great time to see people from different background, definitely different age group. I think the youngest person there was like 6 months, and the oldest person was like 80. Okay. So I was keeping track of those things.
To add to what Colin is saying, the Pirates Week office started what we called Culture Shop about 4 years ago, with the busiest cruise ship day of each month, spanning between February and July. So what Saturday Night Live offers versus what Culture Shop offered back then was the local aspect. We focus more on the cruise ship visitors to convert, with the efforts of converting them into stay over passengers on their next visit to Cayman. So it's a great marriage to include. Hopefully next year we can do the busiest cruise ship day of each month during the daytime. And what we had vendors, local vendors, similar to what we do for Saturday Night Live. Local vendors, local beverages, foods, arts and crafts, and also we had local music. So it's I'm happy to be a part of this, assisting Colin with this initiative, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing people come out this Saturday at 5 p.m. on Harbor Drive.
Yes. And I want to say also, it's no borders. It's free. There's no entrance fee.
No entrance fee.
I mean, there is some compensation for food. We try to tell the vendors to keep it small.
Yes.
Under $5 type of thing, so you'll be able to taste everything. So that's a concept of it. Even if you don't have $1 in your pocket, you still could come on down, enjoy the atmosphere, and mingle and mix with other people.
Now, in terms of the geographic location for the benefit of our audience, what areas will it encompass?
I guess it's the architect in me. I scoured the entire city just to look at little places that hadn't been explored in terms of having events.
Yes.
I particularly always liked that area in Hawkesbury Bay. I remember as a kid driving by there and seeing people jumping off
The key.
Yeah.
The
And the men
I
sitting
wasn't
on the
lucky enough.
breakwater in conversation,
Exactly.
especially on a
Yep.
Saturday night.
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah, and the domino playing in the wee hour of the night. I thought that was special, and I thought, I was a little disappointed that those things are not happening. So we looked at it and strategically, and we did like a plan of how things would work, where things would be. I think Mel and I, and also Cayman Music Association, I have to give Sean some credit. We visited there and scoured the site and looked at it and saw where were the best possible places to have different things. And it's a kind of a tight space, but we enjoy the intimacy of it, and also the fact that it's so front street. People drive by and say, "What's going on?" and they'll stop and want to participate.
And
so,
just for clarity, the road, Harbor Drive, is not blocked off.
Yeah.
So it's free flowing.
Oh, okay.
So so I want to make that just very clear.
Yeah. We felt it was good to have something where it's a passerby event. You could pass by it and see it. I think some of the times we're too quick to block roads off and prevent people from actually being engulfed in whatever you're doing. So, maybe later on, if it's well known enough and it's that big, we'll block a few streets off. But at this particular time.
Okay, I think we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning. For the love of Tom Rock and Forest Rock and couldn't we think we could use a more appropriate name for? I like the concept of what you're doing. But Saturday Night Live, you're pointing it away from Cayman.
Okay.
I think just pure Cayman Saturday Night. There's a beautiful Cayman local song entitled Cayman Saturday Night, which depicts everything, from what I heard this morning, that you might have in your perception of what it should be like. And I think it would be a beautiful foundation background, that whole concept of Cayman, or I hate to say, what do you call it? Saturday Night Live.
In Georgetown.
In Georgetown.
Yeah.
In Georgetown. That's the operative word, Georgetown. There are times when we say Saturday Night Live just as a way of shortening it. But I think in any print form, that's the way that we present it. Saturday Night Live in Georgetown.
Well, maybe Joe will say Scorcher the Live and put Cayman Saturday Night on the other end.
Something to think about. Thank you for that suggestion.
Yeah, but I think caller also. I think I forget what they call it in the advertising terms, but that identity, that catch phrase, Saturday Night Live. When people say Saturday Night Live, right away it is the recognition, the name recognition is there, and I think that is important from a commercial and advertising standpoint, if you want to attract people's attention, just not necessarily to the physical event, but the whole idea as well.
Yeah. Where is it pointing Saturday Night Live? When you say Saturday Night Live, where does the average person mind go?
Well, if you're saying you're talking about Saturday Night Live and you're in Georgetown and you're in the Cayman Islands, it could only be one place, the Cayman Islands.
Well, not if you're saying Saturday Night Live.
In Georgetown.
Well, why not say Cayman Saturday Night in Georgetown? Anyway, that's just my thoughts for this morning.
Okay, thank you, caller. Good point. I understand the caller's position in terms of, want to ensure that the Cayman part of it is in there, but I'm not an expert when it comes to advertising and stuff like that, but the experts will tell you, those catchphrases are important as well. We need to take a commercial break, but when we return, we will continue to talk about Saturday Night Live in Georgetown, Grand Cayman. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right
now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
In 1996, Rotary Club Central led the way initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
Few people speak up when they witness cyberbullying. Logic is proud to present The Change Project, a 15-minute documentary that captures the reality of cyberbullying and the mental health impact on teens, parents, teachers, and families. It's part of a campaign that strives to make a difference in the community by promoting responsible internet and social media use in the Cayman Islands. Screening is at the Camana Bay Cinema on Friday, October 25th at 7 p.m. Afterwards, please join Logic for a family-friendly gathering at Abacus. RSVP to eventpro.ky.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're discussing Saturday Night Live in Georgetown with Mr. Cullen Lumsden, who's the Georgetown Manager and Revitalization Initiative Coordinator, also along with us to discuss that, as well as Pirates Week, some of the Pirates Week activities as well. Miss Melanie McPhail, who is the Executive Director of the Pirates Week office. Back to you, folks.
So just wanted to reiterate the date, time, and venue for Saturday Night Live in Georgetown. It is this Saturday, which is the 26th of October, and it starts at 5 p.m., goes on until 12 a.m., and it's right on Harbor Drive and what many know as the taxi ramp area, right on the waterfront. It's going to be a picturesque, beautiful scenery. We have some local musicians on board, which Colin can discuss a bit further. We also have local vendors, food trucks. We have we're hoping to have some artists there as well, showing live demonstrations of how they come up with their beautiful artwork. Colin.
Now, yeah. So what happens when the if the crowd spills over into the street, since the roads are not blocked off, Harbor Drive is not blocked off? Is it cordon off the area where you will have crowd control, traffic control, and things?
Yeah, we're gonna employ the police department to help us with that, but there isn't any physical barrier.
Okay.
It's something probably we need to think about. But I think with the time that it is from 5 to 7, you get a high turnover, people leaving and coming.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
hopefully that's the what happens on Saturday. But we didn't see anything that was potentially, but it's something to keep an eye on. But I think familiarity too. A lot of people are familiar with this area, so but you can never be safe.
Exactly. The loading and unloading for vendors is my main concern. When vendors come to offload their food and packing up to leave. I think the northbound lane, I'm hoping will be coned off to allow that, coming and going, but not for the entire time frame of the event, because vendors obviously have to prepare, I would say, an hour prior to the event starting. And we're also encouraging vendors that are interested to contact they can contact me at the Pirates Week office at mmacfield@piratesweekfestival.com, or they can give me a buzz on 925-2261 if they're interested in being a vendor. We're always, looking for new vendors. The idea is for this event to rotate vendors, rotate musicians, rotate artists, to give people an opportunity at least once to be showcased at Saturday Night Live in GT.
Okay. And I want to also add that one of the things we also looked at was the actual food itself. We had a partnership with another event planner a few weeks ago at the Street Food Festival, and that was pretty successful. But the idea is to have the food in a very presentable, also the size, bite size, so people could have an opportunity to eat multiple dishes. But it has a street food concept to it, and that has been going over pretty well. We've also, encouraged people to take some of the Caymanian ingredients and maybe just, add a little thing here and there.
Right, a fusion of some sort.
Maybe package it a certain way. Cayman style beef tacos or something. Just to have something crunchy, fun, small. We love our traditional food, and that will never go away. But also, with the idea of mixing music and food, it's always good to have different varieties.
Yes. Right. We want people to think outside the box. It's not Pirates Week has all that yummy soul food.
Heavy food.
Yeah, very heavy food. Saturday Night Live isn't specific to that type of food because it has to be small. You eat with your hands.
Yeah.
So it's vendors have to understand it's not your typical food festival, but it's something that it's easier, in my opinion, to prepare foods like that and package them. And we also have biodegradable containers because one of the other parts of this initiative is to maintain environmentally friendly containers at this event. And the Pirates Week office has biodegradable containers. I think Colin is donating a certain amount to each vendor, and any additional containers can be purchased from the Pirates Week office. So we want to encourage vendors by giving them containers. I think it's like 50 small containers to start with, and anything above that they can purchase. And they're reasonably priced. And we have all sizes, and we have utensils, of your choosing from our office. So you can take a look at that stuff at our gift shop.
Okay. Now, you did note that your expectations were basically exceeded on the first Saturday Night Live in Georgetown. And can you share the feedback that you received from the participants, be they the vendors or the customers?
There was some good testimonials, and there was a lot of suggestions too. But for the most part, I've heard somebody said to me, "Gee, I am a Caymanian, lived abroad for a long time, and this is definitely one of the most, encouraging event that I've seen here in a while." I think with the discussion that Mel and I had in the early stages, we wanted it to be small, and we wanted it to grow with people, and we were very anti-bill it and they'll come. We wanted to build it together and we'll grow.
Yes.
So that was the whole concept. So we purposely wanted to make it that size so people could grow with it. But some of the testimonies was definitely it's a really good event. Love the music. The music has a kind of jazz Caribbean fusion. I think this one we're gonna have Mr. Gary Eubanks. He recently moved back to the island.
Okay.
So he'll be there. He'll be teaming up with Danny Loop, which is a younger guitarist from the Georgetown area. So we're excited. We have the UCCI Steel Band. and other few surprises that I'm not ready to give out yet. But I worked along with the Cayman Music Association because I felt it was very important to filter all this talent through an organization such as that. And with the way he works, Mr. Jean, that is. I tend to call him Sean. I know it's Jean, but we grew up as Jean. We wanted to have a palette of music that was just representative of the Caribbean, Cayman, but it had to have a relaxing kind of jazz instrumental feel to it. And also we wanted music continuously as a backdrop. Those 6 or 7 hours, or 5 or 6 hours, I should say, will be filled with music in the background. Not loud, just enough so you could have a conversation. So we're very pleased about that aspect of it. And as Mel talked about the food part of it. So those things are kind of new in terms of events in Cayman, and combining the music and the food in this particular way, we feel is something that would grow. I have to mention, it was last week I went to the farmer's market, and one of our vendors that was there, one of the food that she developed for the Saturday Night Live in Georgetown, she was actually selling at the farmer's market, which is the Cayman-style beef breadfruit taco.
Yes, amazing. Jay's Food Vault. Yes, she's amazing.
She is so amazing, and she's so inventive and so dedicated, and it makes me almost tear up sometimes when I look at them, the family setting up, and it's if it's only her there cooking the Saturday, I'm very happy.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be more than her, but yes.
But she's so dedicated, and she also had some jerk pork with mango sauce and all this other, very bite-sized, presentable. Dish, and I was just blown away. It tasted so good.
But that's the fusion I was referring to earlier. There's so many you can do. What do we call it? Popcorn conch. With a dipping sauce and breadfruit or whatever you have. There's so many ingredients and fresh ingredients that can be used. Incorporated in your SNL Georgetown presentation. So that's why I say people think outside the box. Cayman has so many unique dishes that we can turn into other things.
I think my long-term vision of this is I would say I'm a well-traveled person per se, and I always notice when I go to other countries the way they incorporate their dishes, their national dishes, their cultural dishes into everything. And, I just feel personally that there's been thousands or hundreds of restaurants in Cayman, and I just feel that, our ingredients, our dishes have to be on Front Street, in a very figurative and literal sense. So my hope is for these things to end up on different restaurant tables, different venues, kind of taking, I think the thing with us, especially our generation, previous generation did all this stuff. They invented all this, Cayman-style beef and conch and all this stuff. What are we doing? We can't just sit here and enjoy it.
It needs to be passed
they're getting older,
sure.
So I think we talked about the diversity and having people come together. The diversity should also happen in the preparation of food. So your grandmothers, your grandhaunts, they're getting older, and the recipes are kind of dying, and you have to kind of revive them a little bit, where the younger generation see them as being very appetizing and want to participate in them. So it's my hope to see these things happen in the future, and I think we're on a good foot in terms of starting out.
And to Colin's point, a good example of seeing those things, those traditions still being carried on is at your Heritage Days during Pirates Week.
Exactly.
So it's important that the older generation makes it a keen effort to make sure that their kids and their grandkids know these recipes. Don't give them the option of learning, because we'll never do it. Make it mandatory.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation will continue with Miss Melanie McPhail and Mr. Cullen Lumsden. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Sometimes things just don't go as planned. That's why you need Contractors All Risk Insurance from Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Ensure you're covered in the event of property damage and third-party injury or damage claims during your construction projects. And with Fidelity Insurance Brokers, you can be sure you are getting competitive pricing and superior customer service. Call us today for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Dress up or dress down in pink for the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens Breast Cancer Awareness Month Dress Pink Day on October 25th. Get your pink items at the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens Pink Shop in Elizabethan Square, which will be open daily from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pink items include t-shirts, polo shirts, hair accessories, caps, and lapel pins. Funds raised from the sale of the pink items go towards paying for mammogram screenings. The Pink Shop is located in the front of Elizabethan Square, facing Shedden Road. Dress pink with the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens on Friday, October 25th.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're discussing Saturday Night Live in Georgetown with Mr. Cullen Lumsden and Miss Melanie McFeel. And if for some reason we decide to take it to another district, we can call it Saturday Night Live in West Bay, Saturday Night Live in East End, Saturday Night Live in Bordentown, Saturday Night Live in Savannah. So again, if we use the generic term for the Cayman Islands, then it takes that personal district
feel out
of it as well.
Yes.
Back to you, folks.
Great point. So I was speaking earlier about the heritage and how important it is to transfer knowledge to the younger generations, for especially where cooking is concerned, but not just cooking. There's the traditional arts and crafts as well, peppermint making. I know nothing about those things. My grandmother's still alive, thankfully, and I need to make it a duty for myself to learn what it is that she does.
Skill. That's a
serious skill.
Yeah.
I'll probably never be as good as her, but at least knowing how to do it or start it. But go ahead, Colin.
No, I was going to suggest that in another board meeting, I think it was a cultural board, we talked about that stuff, and I think those kind of things with the kind of media that we have these days, we have to video and record some of these things being done.
And I'm sure we do, but again, that's not being shared, you know, because there's so many things out there that we're not aware of. That the archive, for example, I did See What You're Saying last Friday with Dwayne and Ray Banker and Darvin was on with me.
Yes, I listened to that. Yeah.
I learned so much in that segment, and it was talking about the history of pirates and you know how they were part of, you know, as at least a stop for the Cayman Islands, a replenishment stop. So again, to my point, the National Archives is a very keen source of information that we can learn so much from, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have videos, if they do have videos on how to do all of these things.
Yes. Speaking of the peppermint making, one year at the agriculture show, there was a lady, a family there, I think from north, may have been from north side, who were actually making the peppermint candy right there, and you got a demonstration of how it was done, you know, as well. Now, when you're talking about peppermint candy, what they're going to sell them for, it becomes almost cost prohibitive. Do you render any sort of financial assistance to those persons if they're going to come to an event like that. They're going to travel, bring all of their stuff, some sort of financial support to them to offset their expenses in the event that they would not make a profit.
What we've done in the past for Culture Shop during the busiest cruise ship day of the month, we would hire Mr. Deal E-Banks and pay him to be there demonstrating his gig making, rope making. The Catboat Association would also be there. So we would offer them a stipend, so to speak. Yes. And anytime they're a vendor at anything that we're doing, we don't charge them. We provide all of their needs, whether it's transportation, tables, chairs, a tent, and they're allowed to sell their arts and crafts as well. So that's how we try to assist them.
I think just going back to the concept of Saturday Night Live, the live actually stand for that. Live peppermint making.
Yes.
It's an adjective that describes an action. And doing something that you could actually see how this is made. And I think that's very important. Not just seeing the end result and looking at the food, that was cooked last night or this morning, but actually seeing the preparation that goes into it and smell the herbs and spices and all these other things. So I think that's a part of the whole concept.
And that's what we want vendors to do. We're not expecting them to prepare an entire meal on site, but there are portions of that meal that could be prepared on site, whether it's frying some breadfruit, for example, which we know doesn't take long, but there, things showing people, that you're cooking it there live, how it's done, is an aspect that we want incorporated more for Saturday Night.
And also cooking in batches. When you get something fresh from the fryer or grill, or it just have that the 5 minutes that it tastes completely different.
Yes.
Those first 5 minutes, and after that, it's something else. So that was a part of the whole live concept also.
And you spoke about the size of the meals, and I think those bite sizes are important because we're accustomed to those big meals in the Cayman Islands, in the Caribbean in general, and we know that there are several jurisdictions where people are just really overweight to an unhealthy level, and encouraging people to eat in these bite sizes is extremely important. Small portions are important as well. Right?
And it gives you an opportunity to taste what other vendors have. Usually, when you buy a big plate of food, you're trying to determine which one person should I buy from. At Saturday Night Live in Georgetown, you can buy from all vendors because the food is that small.
Although I have to admit, I have not gotten across 4 meals yet. as much as I ambitiously think that, I'm going to do about 6 or 7.
Yeah. Including dessert, though.
Yeah, and there's this lucky vendor that gets me to come back twice, so I end up eating something 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of fun deciding what you want to eat. And that tastes good. It's a source for conversation to say, hey, that person's tacos was good, or his Cayman style beef was pretty good, and what did you think of this and what do you think of that? So those are things that fosters conversation.
Okay. So let's remind our listeners and our viewers again the date, the times, the venue.
October 26th, this Saturday, and the venue is Harbor Drive in the taxi ramp area, and it starts at 5 p.m. sharp, and it goes until 12 a.m.
Okay. Yep. So we're looking forward to seeing you.
Definitely.
And we're going to have our pirates there as well.
Okay.
Showcase pirates because right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
So we'll have. We know people love to see those pirates and take pictures and see a little sword fighting demonstration going on. So pirates will be there.
Okay. And anything in relation to parking, because we know that everybody drives in the Cayman Islands, so they're going to any available parking for them?
Not we know there's parking that is close by that we encourage walking, and also the idea of getting to know Georgetown a little bit. So if you have to park a ways down and walk in Cardinal Avenue, and we encourage that.
Yes,
And I think after 5 o'clock, there's plenty of parking. In
Yeah,
Georgetown.
plenty of parking.
Yes, on a Saturday evening.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have the police department. If there's any assistance that's needed in terms of where to park, those things will be there as support.
And like everything else in the Cayman Islands, safe environment for people, family and friends.
Yes,
Yes.
that comes first.
Definitely. We're looking forward to seeing as many people come out and support this event.
Yes.
Okay. And this is the second time for the year that you'll be having it, right?
Yes,
Yes.
well, we had a street food festival that was done, and that was a much larger seasonal event. That was maybe September 21st, a few weeks ago, and then the first Saturday Night Live was August 3rd. So this is technically the third type of event of that nature. This one is a scaled down version of what happened the last time. But we're looking to do other things. The Pirates Week office. I think in final, I just want to say, Georgetown is our capital city, and it's the city we love. It's the heartbeat of Cayman, in my personal opinion. Everything happens through Georgetown, and with the Pirates Week that has been around for 42 years, we just felt that it was a good partnership for us to pool those resources and thinking together. And I'm happy to see that Saturday Night Live in Georgetown would be a kickoff for Pirates Week, and we're looking to see some support from everybody for Pirates Week also. I was there last year, and I was really blown away by the actual atmosphere of it. I think Melanie has been working hard, tweaking things, listening, coming up with new ideas. So I'm looking forward to it, and encouraging people to also support that.
Thank you.
Okay. We may have a voice note. Can you check a voice note to see if it has any relation to the conversation that we're having here? Because we would want to hear from that individual as well. So we're going to stretch this out a little bit more. Now, is it possible that we will see this expanding? This whole cruise berthing facility debate has generated a lot of other things. We have seen now that some of the cruise lines are saying that the Cayman Islands need to increase the attractions that we have. Now, we know that there's a lot of traffic on North and South Church Street during a cruise, whenever a cruise ship is in. Would something of this nature, almost like on a permanent basis or during the course of the day, is that possible as well? To give those persons who may have an interest in that flavor, those who are not going to get on in a tour bus or whatever, go to Stingray City or someplace else, but wants to enjoy the environs of the Georgetown area.
That was the concept of Culture Shop, exactly that. But we couldn't afford to do it, every cruise ship day. So we chose one day of the month, and it was usually about 20 to 25,000 people in port that day.
Yeah. I also want to say that, one of the things that we're currently doing in Georgetown, we're looking at the entire road infrastructure system. We've acquired a traffic model program that we're looking at all the traffic patterns, both locally and in adjoining districts, and seeing how those changes in Georgetown would perhaps impact other decisions. But we're looking at every street right now in terms of what could be pedestrianized. We're looking at the direction of traffic. We're looking to add other roads that would provide more of a gateway to the city and to and from the city or town. And also, areas like Harbor Drive are even being considered about being pedestrianized, at least some of the time, even with the automatic bollard system or something like that. But we see the need for it, for people, something that's that close to the water's edge, and it needs to be a more scenic beltway.
Yes.
So there's a heavy belief system right now that's being pushed for some level of pedestrianization of Harbor Drive. We definitely is going to do it with Cardinal in some capacity, and Main Street, which is that street in front of the post office. Those areas are all being looked at, but we're trying to look at it in a more holistic way in terms of the traffic system. and NRA Director Edward Howard has been very supportive in that endeavor, and we're working hard to see what some of the solutions could be.
Okay, I want to wish you all the best, and see you on Saturday evening.
Thank you very much.
Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the headline news at 9 o'clock, and we may have a surprise guest in the studio with us as well. So stay tuned.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
It's only 2 species that we have here on North Island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access to information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
After a hoax circulated on WhatsApp concerning individuals committing robberies using fraudulent ID, the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Ministry of Finance and Economics, and the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service have jointly released a statement saying local police have received no reports of such robberies and are asking the public to remain calm and refrain from further circulating the fraudulent warning. In the statement released Saturday, officials further noted that a virtually identical scam has been circulating internationally via mobile and social media for years, surfacing most recently in September of this year. Members of the public are reminded that the RCIPS will promptly notify the public whenever recent crimes create the potential for concern or impact. In news elsewhere, 5 people died after looters torched a garment factory near Chile's capital, Santiago, bringing the death toll in violent protests to at least 7. The military and police used tear gas and water cannon against protesters, and a curfew was imposed in major cities. A state of emergency already in place in Santiago is to be extended to cities in the country's north and south. The unrest, sparked by a now suspended metro fare hike, has widened to reflect anger over living costs and inequality. There is set to be major disruption on Monday, with many banks, schools, and shops expected to remain closed. And British Prime Minister Boris Johnson attempted for a second time to secure lawmakers' backing for his European Union divorce deal on Monday as Parliament geared up for a grueling week of political warfare over Brexit. With just 10 days to go until the UK is due to leave the bloc on October 31st, Johnson's government planned to ask for a straight-up-and-down vote on his EU divorce agreement, which changes how both sides handle the Irish border. That request comes 2 days after lawmakers voted to delay approving the Brexit deal. Those are your latest updates here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanta Gallego.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Despite the fact that Mondays has always been reserved for the government, the next voice that you're going to hear in the studio, I don't want you to confuse it and think that this individual necessarily represents the government, but showing the flexibility that we have here on in Radio Cayman and For the Record, because we only had one group of government guests in with us this morning. I was able to, on short notice, accommodate Mr. Kenneth Bryan, and he's been making the news recently. Had his press conference last week. And we see where, since that press conference, there have been some changes in terms of what he's doing in relation to the national survey. So I'm going to say good morning first. Welcome, Mr. Kenneth Bryan. And then we have a caller who was on there previously that we're going to take the call as well. Mr. Bryan, good morning. Welcome to For the Record, sir.
Good morning, OC, and thank you, and it's a pleasure to be on here. Hopefully get to talk about this initiative of the Caymanian Voice National Survey, the intentions, what the questions are, and how I think it will be beneficial to the country. But I am definitely aware of the callers and how long they want to wait, so I'll let you get on to that.
Sure. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the Georgetown representative, Kenneth.
Good morning, sir.
Just a quick side note before you get started, Kenneth, and that was and I'm unfortunately didn't get a chance to catch the last two panelists that you had on.
Yes.
And I just wanted to stay up front that knowing a little bit about the port expansion deal there, I just wanted to implore Colin and the government to take a look at using the bus depot area for the new cruise port, if it's built, as a flex area to host these kinds of events as well, because as you can imagine, those are fairly large buses that are going to be taking people, so there's going to be a very vast expanse of space that could otherwise double, especially in the evenings. It's, you can have events there and everything else, and that doesn't affect traffic and all of that good stuff. So thought I'd just throw it out there. They may have already considered it. I know Colin has been doing a lot of exhaustive research on things like that. And in closing, I'd like to say congratulations, Kenneth, on your initiative. I think it's a very good one, and I hope you have every success with it. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, caller, for those comments as well. Mr. Bryan?
Good morning, OC. I want to say to that last caller, thank you so much. He's a very intelligent Caymanian and somebody I look up to tremendously. So for him to say that, gives me a level of comfort to know that I'm on the right track. So thank him for that. OC, I tried to get on your show this morning because I think it would take too long for the narrative to ease by now and Friday. So thank you for accommodating me to be on the show. The purpose I'm here this morning for the listening audience is to announce that I am holding a national survey, and it's going to be called the Caymanian Voice National Survey. The national survey is going to be held on the same day as the referendum. It's not the referendum, but it will be held on the same day as the referendum. Now, the purpose of having it on the same day, which seems to have created a little bit of concern, is because having it on the referendum creates an opportunity to get a very large amount of people to participate, because people are already within the frame of mind to address an issue of national importance. And therefore, they're already on their way, and the time has already been taken in respect to the accordance to the law. The employers are legally obligated to allow you enough time to go to the polls. So to take an extra 60 seconds to participate in some of the questions that will be on the survey, on the exit survey, once you've voted, if you intend to vote, that you can participate in the national survey, will take only 60 seconds. Now, the only reason we're doing it on that day is that the convenience of everybody already being out and people having time to take off from work to do so. I think it's important that we get down to the questions of what will be on the national survey. Now, I must mind you that these questions are controversial and rather sensitive. But that is the even more reason why we should have the national survey. I'm hoping that these questions and the answers they give can give some sort of indication to the representatives of the Cayman Islands by way of the legislature, MLAs like myself, a true indication of how we feel about these topics. Now, the topics are surrounded by three main things. Has to do with gambling, has to do with same-sex unions in marriage, and marijuana. These topics continue to pop up every administration and every other year as way of discussion, and we've been dealing with it for decades about these various different topics. So I think it's time for us to give a clear indication to the legislators how we feel about the matter, so we can focus our efforts on more important things like, say, for instance, traffic, the cost of living, healthcare costs in this country, and jobs for Caymanians. Particularly as a legislator myself, I believe in representing the views of the people. Usually politicians will gauge the attitude of the people within the area and never really have a true census of the people. So this is why I'm doing this, because they're so controversial, because they're so sensitive, it's hard to get a true viewpoint, because not everybody will say how they feel publicly. There's not a lot of people will tell you how they feel about it privately. They would like the security of a sacred ballot, and that's what we're presenting. So just for the listening audience, I will be holding the survey, the national survey, on referendum day, and the questions at this particular point are only 6, and they're pretty straightforward, and with a simple answer, yes or no to these questions. So the questions are as such. Should the Cayman Islands legalize a national lottery? Question number 2. Should the Cayman Islands legalize casinos? Question number 3. Should the Cayman Islands legalize same-sex marriages? Question number 4. Should the Cayman Islands legalize same-sex unions? Question number 5. Should the Cayman Islands decriminalize marijuana, better known as ganja? Should the Cayman Islands legalize marijuana, better known as ganja? Now, these questions are simple as in its wording, and we want to keep it simple because we don't want to overcomplicate. And it's broken up into 3 parts. The Cayman Islands being the government and the representatives that we have selected. Should they take an action of legalizing or not legalizing a particular topic? One that I think that a lot of people are aware of. So national lotteries, casinos, same-sex unions, same-sex marriages, and marijuana, and the legalization or decriminalization of those things. And people, the reason why we selected these questions is because we believe that the topics have been in the public domain for such a long enough time that people are informed enough to have a position by now, as opposed to bringing up a topic that may be more current, like traffic, and what a question could say as to the solutions of it. It is difficult to... A common thing that we get is, well, why are you not asking questions about things that are more current or more important? It is difficult to put questions that are simple, easy, and can end with an action answer. When I say action answer, meaning giving a directive as to the representatives of this country, how they feel about what they want them to do or not do in respect to these topics. And I'll give you an example with my committee. We were talking about traffic, and people say, well, boy, the feedback is people want you talking more about things that are more current. I say, okay, well, let's think about that. Let's think about a traffic question. What kind of question can you ask the people that fits all the criteria as to be quick and efficient, can end with a action answer that the politicians have a directive of what to do about the topic that people are already informed about, because we have a short window here, less than 2 months. So the truth is there's no such question around traffic. As important as traffic is, there's no question that is available that you can put forward that can give you simplicity, action, result.
What about a question in relation to, because the policy that we have in terms of the importation of vehicles into this island does have an impact on the number of vehicles on the roads of the Cayman Islands.
I agree. So does the transport system. So holistically, these are different parts of a solution to a traffic problem. So importation of car, limitations of importation to the cars could be a part of the solution, but it's not the sole solution. Creating a government-run bus service system that is more reliable could be a part of a solution, but not the whole solution. Building a bridge, say, for instance, on the North Sound, coming from the east, could be a part of a solution, but not the whole solution. So if you were to put all of those in together as one solution, it becomes rather complicated because people may be for some parts and not for the other parts, and then you don't have a conclusive answer that politicians can rely on. And the more complicated the question gets, the less potential chance for somebody to participate because it's not clear. Now, I definitely think we should definitely do more polling, but we're in short time, as we recognize. We're less than 2 months, and I have to promote this. And these topics, in my opinion, are already questions that I know that people have answers to. It's just that they haven't been polled or surveyed as the position on these topics.
Okay, we have to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly, and we will continue our discussion with MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
It was a day that changed my life. No words can describe the feelings of seeing my baby boy sick for the first time. The overwhelming feeling of fear to be responsible for his health and happiness became my priority. So I did what any nurturing mother would do when their baby is sick. I took him to get some of the best medicine possible.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy understands the importance of careful decisions you make every day for your family. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care, so you can feel confident in knowing that your family is safe with the right medication. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we take care of your health.
Congratulations, I hear the family is expanding.
Yes, our family is growing bigger, but I don't know how we're going to get around. Our old car just doesn't have enough room.
You should head over to Vamp Motors and ask about the Toyota Rush. It's a 7-seater SUV with lots of room and safety features, and it's on sale for just $21,900.
Rush in to Vamp Motors for the best deal of the year on the Toyota Rush SUV. Save up to $2,600 with Vamp cashback and the Toyota factory rebate going on right now. Fuel efficient, stylish, roomy, and loaded with safety features. The Rush is the perfect SUV for you and your family, starting from just $21,900. Visit Vamp Motors and drive your deal home today while stock lasts.
The 2019 Fall Labor Force Survey and Pilot Census are currently being conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office. The Labor Force Survey collects data on the employed and unemployed persons, while the Pilot for Census 2020 will test the questionnaire prior to its finalization. Trained interviewers with ESO ID cards will visit randomly selected households in all districts. The interviews are confidential in accordance with the statistics law. No individual data will be published or disclosed. Survey data are exempt from freedom of information. For more details, please call the ESO on 516-3329.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me now, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Before I go throw the mic back over to Mr. Bryan, one of our listeners has written, and this has to do with an earlier topic that we discussed, and in reaction to Captain Paul's call and comments about the vegetation at the junction of Walker's Road and South Sound Road, and the fact that he observed a lady actually cutting some of the bushes there, and she was doing that simply because there's an area, a point where your vision is obscured as a result of the vegetation. And I spoke about the fact that the NRA is something that the NRA may want to look into, as well as I question whether or not the NRA employs the services of spotters to go around and to point out, various dangers and things of that nature for them to be corrected. I also pointed out that I believe that junction of Walker's Road and South Sound Road may need some re-engineering so that it is much easier to see traffic coming from the west when you're at that junction, when you're sitting on Walker's Road, on the Walker's Road end of the junction. So this listener has written in and said, on the issue of Walker's Road, shouldn't the Georgetown South representative be looking out for these things as well? Just asking. And it's a good question to ask, and I'm sure if that Georgetown South representative, whomever they are, that if something like that came to their attention, either by their own observation or otherwise, that they would be address it as well. So I just wanted to share that person's comments with them. And Mr. Bryan, we saw in today's Compass the one article in relation, and it's headed, Bryan drops raffle from the referendum. The survey. And you have gone ahead in that article to explain your decision for that. But for those who may not have access to the Cayman Compass yet this morning, can you?
Yeah, okay. Well,
to
thank you again for the question. In my initial press conference, the intention was to add an incentive for persons to take part in this private poll or this non-governmental poll, which is important that I specify it's non-governmental. This is an initiative I decided to do on my own because the government wouldn't do such a poll. Because if you recall, I put a question to the government on the floor of the Legislative Assembly to ask them to consider putting on other questions, topical questions, that so we can get a resolve to these sensitive issues in the upcoming referendum on a different ballot. Obviously, one that is non-binding and wouldn't meet the threshold like the Constitutional People's Initiative referendum. I didn't even have the decency of a response, unfortunately. I'm not sure if that means they didn't support it or they just didn't think it was a top priority right now. I don't know. I can't put words in their mouth, but I haven't got an answer to it. So I decided to.
And you wrote to them, or you just how was that?
Well,
what
it's
take?
a formal question submitted to the floor of the House for answer.
Oh, okay. It has already been submitted and the question raised.
The question,
or is it for this meeting?
No. It's been submitted from about 3 meetings ago.
Okay.
And they never put it on order paper because they wouldn't respond to it. So I'll never know what they feel. So I can't say the government is against a concept like this, but I know they're obviously not for it, putting it on the referendum because they haven't initiated that. So I just took that as obviously government is just going to ignore me like they always do. And because of that narrative, in respect to what your question was, I initially wanted to have an incentive involved in getting persons to participate in the poll, because there's some key elements here, right? Some people are like, oh, I would like a national lottery or a casino, and they may come out and say, okay, I'm going to take part in the poll because of those concerns. Or somebody may say, no, I want to make sure gambling don't come in my country, so I'm going to go down there and vote no. So there are different reasons why people may want to participate in this survey. I want people to participate because I think it's important that you send a clear message to the representatives as to how you feel about these topics. But sometimes people may not have a strong urge to get up out of their bed to go down there because maybe just they don't care. So I added an element of incentive to say if you participate in the poll that you have an opportunity to win some prizes. That we will have a raffle afterwards. You get a ticket, like kind of what they do with the Lions Club. After much discussion, after the press release, people calling me and saying, Kenneth, they may use that to undermine the results of the data, to say, well, people only voted for it to get a chance to win these prizes. And they might have just gone there and just say, no to everything, or yes to everything. So it undermines the credibility
of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So though I think it would still bring people out, it may just undermine the whole process. So that's why we withdrew it. And we're not going to be going forward with that part of it. But I want to take this opportunity for those who understand the merits of what I'm trying to accomplish here. Because I'll say this, OC. These are sensitive and controversial topics, and it's even more reason why we have to get a directive from the people. But for whatever reason, it seems to be a taboo to be able to ask politicians or to ask the voters how they feel. For example, as we've been speaking, I just got a text saying, Kenneth, are you not afraid that people will feel that you are for these particular topics? Are you sure you want to do this? Now, that's the narrative that I've been hearing, which is don't ask these questions. And I'm hearing it from other colleagues that don't ask these questions because if you ask them, people are going to think you're supporting them. Now, as a strong leader, it's up to me to say to people, listen, this isn't about whether I'm for these things or against these things. My position or my viewpoints about these matters are irrelevant. What matters is how you feel about these matters, because I want the results and the data to be able to stand confidently on any platform to say the people have spoken about these topics in this certified poll or survey. So, for example, if I have 1,200 people in my constituency, up to the last numbers, and 1,230 actually. If, say for instance, 800 of those persons come out and say, Kenneth, we're against casinos, against national lotteries altogether. Any kind of proposal or discussion of a national lottery or of a casino, it's a simple outright no on behalf of my people.
But how are you going to know whether or not they're from your constituent?
Because good question. Good question. Well, the way the survey is going to be set up is going to be going based on particular districts, particular electoral districts. So we're going to have a tent set up on every electoral district because the referendum will be surveyed in that particular way. So your results will be broken down into, so for instance, this iPad in this area, you come there, this will be only for Georgetown Central. So the data released in this area will be only for Georgetown Central. And then obviously we'll tally it all up together at the end, but also be able to be released on a broken down perspective. So ideally, this was all about each particular representative being able to have an idea of how their constituents feel. Because that's what's important to me, is to know what the people of Georgetown Central feel about these topics. You know, like say for instance, when the topic about the same-sex marriages came up, I tried my endeavor best to go to as many people as I can, and I got to not to the same-sex topic, to the referendum topic about the port. And I did just over 400 people. Now, of the 400 people, majority, about close to 70% of them said no, they don't want it. Now, ideally, I would rather have a larger sample survey of that. There's 1,200 people. I would really like 1,200 people to give me an answer, so I can.
But at least a third.
At least a third.
Good sample is a good sample.
It is a good sample, but it becomes very onerous. It took me about a month to get that data. Data is what we should use as legislators to make our decisions, because it's not about what we feel, but what the people feel. And that's ultimately the objective of this exercise. So I want to be able, because I know the topic comes up every single year in every administration. We should have a national lottery because we can get money to go towards the schools and what have you. But there's other principles of that people are concerned about too, like the religious element of the gambling part. Now, what I want to know is, how did the people feel? Is the majority of them against it, or the majority of them for it? Because that's my job, is to act on behalf of the people of the majority. That's what democracy is about. So ultimately, that's what I'm trying to get in respect to these sensitive topics.
Okay. One of our listeners said, Mr. Brian, do the raffle after voting is over. I would donate a few prizes.
I'm not sure if the caller or the person who texted in understood the concept behind it. If there's any incentives, I am worried, and it's a legitimate concern that a person may want to participate in the poll simply because of that, not only because of their viewpoints. Now, there's a person who can come and give their honest opinion about these things and still want to participate in it. But how do I know? And because of that ambiguity in the air and they're not sure, when people come and give their viewpoint without an incentive, you know that has to be their honest opinion, because they weren't incentivized to come. So unfortunately, as much as I know it may bring a couple extra 100 people out for the purposes of potentially winning something on a Christmas day, because it's right around Christmas, I unfortunately had to pull that back, because I don't think that they would undermine the whole results in the end.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, I know that you have had some discussions with the supervisor of elections, Mr. Wesley Howell, in relation to what you propose to do. And I'd like you to share that with our listening and viewing audience as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
I'm starting my shopping early this year. What you want for Christmas?
All I really want for Christmas is for my packages to arrive on time.
Plan ahead to get your shipments into Seaboard Marine on time and avoid the holiday rush. Check out their great less-than-container shipment rates. Seaboard saves you time, money, and convenience with consolidation and repacking options available. Take a load off Santa this holiday season. Shop, ship, and save on your small packages with Seaboard Marine. Give us a call at 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com/grand-cayman for quotes or additional details.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
In 1996,
Rotary Club Central led the way, initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
Did you know the cruise berthing facility will not cause flooding in Georgetown? In fact, wave walls will be built in addition to the piers, and marine engineers say that this could reduce the force of incoming waves. Learn more and spread the word.
Looking forward, looking bright. Support our port, support our tourism.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. I want to talk a little bit about your discussions with the Supervisor of Elections and the fact that this poll has taken place on referendum day, but not so much that, but that it's going to be taking place near to polling stations.
Yes, thank you for that question, because this is a new concept or for the first time in Cayman being done like this. So a lot of people go, hold on, can he do this? Is this legal? It's on referendum day. And there's a lot of questions that came up. So obviously I had to do my homework before I initiated this concept and this idea. And I reached out to the Supervisor of Elections after examining the elections law myself, after speaking to some legal counsel. And we all came to the conclusion that there is nothing in the law that prevents a private individual from doing a private poll, as long as they make sure not to violate certain provisions of the elections law, or any provision of the elections law for that matter, that is related to doing a poll. So in this case, after speaking to the Supervisor of Elections, I sent him an email and had discussions with him and asked him to confirm that there is nothing within the elections law that prevents me from doing such an action. He did agree to that, but just highlighted that there's some concerns that we must be mindful of as the organizers and the potential volunteers who will be involved, that we should adhere to, because then we become in violation of the elections law. So two of the main things that came up, actually three things that came up, was one, not disturbing persons and registered voters on their way to the polls, so that they can do the constitutionally and elections law process, which is go and vote. So you can't disturb them on the way there, but you can discuss with them on their way out whether they want to participate. So on their way in, don't say anything to them. On their way out, say, would you like to participate in the survey? If they say no, say thank you very much, have a good day. If they do, just explain the process, and it's going to take about 60 seconds to do. The other part was to maintain the elections law mandated 300 feet away from all polling stations, which I knew from being a candidate before. So all of our survey stations will be around the radius of 300 feet. We haven't identified all locations yet, but it will be outside of 300 feet of the polling stations, quite like how most politicians have their own little tent set up, just making sure all their voters come down and come and vote. So I remember my tent for Georgetown Central, and we're going to be something similar like that. So just have 2 to 3 people there, and just so the public is aware, and I should be stressing this is going to be an anonymous survey. Your answers are totally anonymous. They'll never be identified with you. The process is you come up to the survey station and they say, okay, I'm John Blow. We just have to confirm that you're a registered voter. They find the list, the most current list. Oh, Mr. John Blow is on here. Then he goes over to the next volunteer, and there's an iPad electronic format. So just one page with all 6 of the questions. On either side, it will have yes or no, and it's touchpad, so you don't have to mark anything. Just use your finger, press yes or press no. And once you've done the answer to all 6, there will be a big button at the bottom that says submit. You press that, and you're done. Finished.
And they do that within their own privacy.
Yes, what we intend to do, and sorry for not highlighting these very important, sensitive things, but quite similar to what you've seen in the elections office, where there's like a cardboard boxing. We intend to have one of those set up with the iPad within it. So when you're answering your questions, nobody will be able to see what you're answering. And once you submit, the page goes blank. So you will never be able to see it again. So as soon as you finish, boom, 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 you press submit, then it goes off into the cyberspace, so to speak. So nobody will know after that once you walk away from the booth. And it's a really quick and easy, efficient process. But is there another question? Oh, about the supervisor of elections.
Yes.
And the other one was making sure not to release any data findings of the referendum before the elections office released the information about the findings. Because I can see where the concern came up about conflicting results. But it's not relevant to us because we're not asking anything to do with the referendum.
Yeah,
but
I was wondering.
At that stage, he wasn't sure what the questions were. You see.
I see.
Because it was this national survey was on the basis of an exit poll, and normal exit polls are based on the topic at hand within the election itself. So though this is an exit survey, none of the question has anything to do with the referendum. So the referendum is a totally different process. We're just using the opportunity that is at hand, that everybody's already in the frame of mind to answer questions of national importance, and you already get the legal time allowed under the law to go out and exercise that. So take another 60 seconds to participate in this. It will be definitely beneficial to the country as the results in the data. So those were the 3 things that he maintained, and once I'm trying to get as many volunteers as possible to assist, because we want 3 people per survey station, and that's 19 constituencies, because we intend to do Kim and Brack as well.
Okay.
So we're looking about 60 people plus that we need to assist us. So I will be going through that process, explaining to them how to behave, just like what you would do in a normal election, and not trying to interfere with a person's viewpoint about how to vote or what your opinion is, but just encourage them to come and take part.
Okay, we have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you, Mr. O.C.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to Mr. Emily, Mr. Brian there.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Just fine, thank you, sir. It's always good to hear you on there. And for that matter, all our elected representatives, because unfortunately a lot of people don't listen to the recorded proceedings of the MLA, the LA in the evening times after they've had their meetings, and the day before it might be, or whatever it is. But they listen to your show, Mr. O.C., and also to the other. So when other shows on radio, starting doing and so forth, and other radio stations there, so they gather a good idea of things. My thoughts on it really with what you're saying, and I'm glad Captain Paul called in about that problem with bushes on the roadside and hanging over also everywhere. It needs to be checked. It's a very important thing. Doesn't this, you think, lend a sort of carnival atmosphere to the serious thing of the referendum? I just thought, having this sort of added survey at that time, when really and truly these questions should be posed by the 18 other elected representatives and yourself in their particular districts at political meetings. I would have thought that would be the best place for this to have been done throughout the year and the 4 years or whatever, because the questions keep popping up. and other things, that you get a feel of the people, since it's a lesser crowd now that you have to speak to, with it being split up into 19 districts. I just thought it might be more, a better way for it to be done like that. And the other question is this: have you asked the other representatives if they would like this to be done in their 18 the other districts and all 90 with a referendum at the same time, that it might distract from it, that it might add, as I say, a sort of carnival atmosphere to it, and that maybe that is best done at another time or by private people or at meetings. I just thought, did you speak to them and ask them if they might like that to be done in their district at the referendum, at the polling at the outside the 300-foot mark or whatever? What are their feelings on it? I just wonder about that. Thank you. I'll hang up and listen for the answer.
Thank you very much, caller. Mr. Brian?
I want to say thanks to Mr. Houston to always calling in and having a viewpoint. It allows me to have dialogue about the topic. I haven't spoken to all members. I've spoken to some. And I must say there has been some reservation as to wanting it done. Nobody has said they won't want it in their constituency per se. And I'm not sure how I would respond to that, because it's the constituency upon which you represent, but I represent all the Cayman Islands as well. So I'm not sure how I would handle that response, because I think this is a national issue. And maybe if a member is not comfortable with these questions, that's kind of their own prerogative. The fact is, I need to ask the people all the same, because though I have a constitutional obligation to the people of Georgetown Central specifically, I also have a national mandate as well in respect to acting on the national important elements. I think he agrees that it needs to be done. That's one thing I think he suggested. But he has, many people have shared his concern about, is this the best day to do so? And I asked myself that question. I said, can the people of this country answer a port question and these other questions without being confused? So I'll put the question to you, OC. Do you think you have the ability to go and answer about the port, then walk 300 feet away, and then answer these simple questions, or would you be confused?
No, there are two different processes, and it shouldn't be confusing to that extent. Also, there was a time when we had a national vote, and we had a referendum vote at the same time, where you basically went from one section where you voted for your candidate, and you walked over the other section and you voted for the referendum. Some people only did the candidates and didn't do the referendum.
Exactly.
Some people like me, I did the referendum but not the candidate, because I was still involved in the electoral administration part of it, and I never vote for candidates when I was deputy supervisor of elections. So I worked in elections for 33 years. And the one time, I only voted one time for a candidate. That was in the last election. And before that, my only vote was in favor of the new constitution.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's not confusing at all, because you're going in to vote for a candidate. Now, once it is explained to people what they're going to do, the referendum people will have their the program. They will be out there urging people to go and vote for the referendum. So that takes place. Yours will be after the referendum. I don't see where it should be confusing at all. And despite some of the detractors, I believe that this is one of the best opportunities that you have for getting that many people, the core group that you're trying to tap into, which is the voting constituents. That's the perfect time to get them there. And
Exactly.
I don't see where it should be confusing.
Exactly. And just to, I think Mr. Hurlston suggested that, do it at public meetings and the like. You, like you rightfully said, OC, you'll never get an opportunity like this again to get that large amount of sample of amount of people to participate. And I think, I've had persons who were adamantly against me doing this on this day. You're going to screw up the referendum process, and we work so hard. And I've had people really go hard on me. And I had to take it like a man. I said, listen, unfortunately, I have to take the decision to say this is bigger than just one topic. It's the constitutional ability for everybody to have the day off or time off from work to be able to exercise in something like this, and I have to take it. As much, I do not want to detract from the port at all. The port is a very important issue, and I want everybody to come out and exercise their position regardless for or against. But I had to take the opportunity because these topics are also very important topics that need resolution to, as to whether we're not moving forward with them, period, or we're going to make some changes. So I had to take that chance and do it, even though I know there was going to be some pushback. But I am confident that the people are capable of doing this, unless we're suggesting that people are
can't eat and chew gum at and chew gum at the same time.
Exactly.
Let's take our last commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
In 1996, Rotary Club Central led the way initiating a disaster fund to prepare and assist our community toward recovery. The Rotary Clubs of the Cayman Islands then expanded this valuable instrument, the Rotary Cayman Disaster Fund. Thereafter, Rotary District 7020, a group of 86 clubs over 10 countries in 16 islands across the Northwest Caribbean, grew this idea, the Rotary District 7020 Disaster Fund. Today, this Rotary Central idea has worked relief and recovery, assisting communities throughout this region. Rotary, with you before, during, and after. Rotary, connecting the world.
Sometimes having a middleman is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to insurance. Do you know that when it comes to cost, ease, speed, and peace of mind, insurance brokers ranked higher than when customers buy direct? So, for all your insurance needs, call Fidelity Insurance. We're the middleman you want. Call us today at 949-7822. Fidelity. We're good for you.
Saturday Night Live in Georgetown is back. October 26, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. Join in on the downtown waterfront celebration with live music, art, and great Caymanian food against the beautiful sunset of Hogstye Bay. Check out the Georgetown Revitalization Facebook page for more details. Saturday Night Live, October 26th from 5 p.m.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news.
Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA Mr. Kenneth Bryan. Mr. Bryan, somebody's really interested in having that raffle because they say here, it says, okay, Mr. Bryan, how about having a raffle just before Christmas in each constituency? whether lose or draw in the referendum. They just want to have a raffle.
Well, I think they may actually have
$3,000 and how much was it? 3 and 2 or something like that.
Well, obviously this person may have a position on some of these questions on here, but unfortunately we have made the decision, and I'm not going to allow that simply because it may hinder the data and have the opportunity for persons to say the data is skewed because of influence. Mm-hmm. So that won't be happening. I apologize. I've made an executive decision, so to speak, on that one.
And then another listener had a suggestion in relation to why not do it on Heroes Day, but I believe some of the explanations that you've given already would point to the fact that Heroes Day wouldn't necessarily give you the wider reach that you're seeking to have also.
Exactly, but just to confirm, one other part is, yes, that would be a holiday as well, but they won't have there's people who work on holidays who will not have the opportunity under accordance to the law to allow you to go out and vote. So persons who are working on referendum day, the employers are obligated under the law to allow them time to go out and vote in the referendum. And they can sneak out 60 seconds out of that to come and take part in the survey while they're exiting. But on Heroes Day, there's some people who won't be able to get out of work. So obviously it shows that this opportunity on referendum day creates the largest opportunity to get the majority of people in this country to participate in this survey of importance, in my opinion. And I want to clarify again, for persons who want to assist, because we need about 60-something people to assist with this. I want to do it all across the country, including Kim and Brack. And with having 3 persons per survey station, I need 60-odd people. 19 times 3 is actually 57, but I need some extras for, going to get drinks and food and stuff, make sure all the persons who are volunteering are okay, driving around to the various different constituencies. And so we need an extra 10 team leaders monitoring the process. So if you are interested in being involved in this because you think the country definitely needs to get a direction on these things, you want to volunteer and be a part of it, the number to call is 924-3111, 924-3111, or you can email me at kennethbryan2@hotmail.com. We're looking forward to hearing from you. I'm intending to have a meeting at my office this Wednesday night at 7. I think it's going to be at 7. Yeah, at 7 o'clock. We're expecting people to be there for 6:30 to go over some of the preliminary things we need volunteers to do. If I'm doing this on my own, and there's going to be cost, OC. So if anybody wants to come and help with getting this organized with me, I'd really appreciate it, because I need to buy 19 tents, I need to buy 19 iPads, I need to buy tables, I need to make sure provide food for all the volunteers. But it's something that I'm committed to. I really think we need direction in respect to these topics. And I'm going to bring up something that people may not have recognized. We have a challenge right now before the courts about the same-sex marriage and the ruling of the Chief Justice. It's been appealed, and we're waiting on the
Court of Appeals decision. Yeah.
Court of Appeals decision. One of the answers to that, or one of the findings could be that, listen, the judge was wrong or overreached and should have been sent back to the MLAs to decide. Now, if that does happen, it comes back to the LA. The data and the answers to those two questions about whether should the Cayman Islands legalize same-sex marriages or should the Cayman Islands legalize same-sex unions can give us a direction. Now, majority of people may say no to both of them, but at least the politicians know where to stand. Or some of them may say no to same-sex marriages, but we're okay with same-sex unions. Or some people, our majority may say we're okay to both. We don't know, and I want a clear direction so I can stand confidently on behalf of the people.
Okay, we're going to take the last call for the morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hi, this is Eden Hurlston, the younger, calling in again.
Okay.
Kenny, I think what you're doing is good, man. We already talked about, I want to help out up here in West Bay. So if you don't need to buy, you can buy 18 tents instead of 19 and 17 tables instead of 19. First of all, I just want to make one comment and I have a question. Anytime we have a referendum or a vote like this, we should have multiple questions. With the cost that it takes to do this and all the attention that it takes up in the community, we have so much going on with this one as far as trying to change the date for it and people not feeling right about it, and new voters getting involved and all these different things around this. We need to have multiple questions being asked at these things so we can keep a gauge of what the community conversation is in each district. It only makes sense. If we're going to spend $1.5 million getting a bunch of voters together, let's also find out what is on the voters' mind based on, I think, very pertinent questions like this one that are really affecting our community. There's a lot of division around these questions, and I think it's a great idea to get a gauge on what the how the community is thinking about these questions while all the voters are together in one place. It makes sense, it's frugal, and it's just common sense. My question is really, let's say that this survey goes over smoothly and pertinent data is gathered by asking these questions, whether the date happens on December 19th or if it's pushed back to allow the other voters to get involved in the referendum. What kind of influence would this data have when taken back to the MLA as far as looking over it? Like, I know it doesn't play in an official capacity, but Kenny, how do you feel like it might affect the mindset of the MLA, or how what happens around these questions going forward? Thank you guys once again.
Thank you very much, Scholar.
I want to say thank you tremendously to Eden in respect to for one, calling in, be willing to help and supporting my concept, and I really appreciate that. Answering his question, I want to give some preambles. There's specifically why I decided it can only be registered voters is because politicians listens to voters. If you're a Caymanian and you're not registered to vote, most likely they're not going to pay much attention to you. That's just a sad reality. It shouldn't be that way. But if a registered voter and a non-registered voter call a politician, I can promise you the person that they're going to call back first is the registered voter, because that person has the ability to put them in office or out of office. As well as politician response to numbers. What I intend and hope that will happen, and I can't give you no guarantee of what the other MLAs will do, but I believe that if there's a significant enough numbers here, say for instance 10 to 15,000 people actually participate in this, and some may say that's a high number, but I think at the very least 10,000 of 21,000 odd registered voters is a very large survey to give an indication as to how the country feels. Now, if the data comes back, for example, and I don't want to pick on anyone, but the least controversial one may be, should the Cayman Islands legalize a national lottery? Let's say, for instance, of the 10,000, 7,000 came back and said, yes, we're in favor of a national lottery for whatever reason it may be. 7,000 registered voters coming out to say yes, I can promise you all politicians want to know that information, because that gives them an indication, particularly in the breakdown of their constituency. And I believe it will direct their behavior for or against any one of these particular topics. And that's the hope. And I think that it's also going to be beneficial to future conversations about the same-sex marriage, same-sex union element. So I encourage anybody who is in favor or against these topics to come out and state your position, because we want to send a clear message to me and the rest of the legislators as how we feel about the matter. Okay. If I can just wrap up quickly, those of you who want to participate in volunteering with this, helping me man the survey stations, please call me at 924-3111, 924-3111. I'm having a meeting this Wednesday night at my office to go through the preliminary elements of it. I'll be back on the show to talk about persons who are not registered to vote. If they can prove that they're getting registered to vote now, between now and then, I will also allow them to participate, but they have to have a stamped document from the elections office saying they have actually submitted their application, because they won't fall on the final list.
Does the election office normally give that?
Well, you can ask for a copy of your application. I've done it before.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. All the best. All the best. Thank you for those of you who are following the British politics in the UK. John Burkhoff, the Speaker in the House of Commons, has thrown another monkey wrench into Boris Johnson's Brexit plans. He has ruled out a second vote on his bill. So that means that he may need a further extension from the EU in relation to it, because The speaker has thrown another monkey wrench. I'm sure that the speaker is going to be in for a lot of things, that he is knocking down a lot of bridges, is burning a lot of bridges before the 31st of October when he steps down as Speaker of the House as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. Fidelity Bank, for all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.